elimination for the first time as a group, and maybe your best effort of the season. Just how do you keep it rolling against the Timberwolves team that's playing pretty good right now as well?
Yeah, we got to flip the page and get better. Every night's an opportunity to learn and get better, and we're going to do so, no matter what the outcome is.
Good luck the rest of the way. We'll see you on Tuesday.
You know who this is? The MVP.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the All Things Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Vic Lopez, as always, and just finished work. And so I was taking some notes, looking at the stats on NBA.com, looking at some data, and I thought it would be fun to highlight something that I found. And it's going to be centered around the mid-range. And I want to jump into this data right now. So let's look at the second round only. So conference semifinals. I had to put a filter in because I started getting just crazy names for guys that, barely play minutes, barely take attempts. So it really changes up and it makes the percentages look crazy. So I put 3 mid-range field goal attempts minimum per game. I'm going to show you guys this list. I'm going to start from the bottom. Only 7 guys have taken 3 or more mid-range field goal attempts per game in the second round. And it goes as follows. Pascal Siakam, Jason Tatum, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, Jamal Murray. Then we see Jaylen Brown. And then all the way at the top, separating himself from everyone else in this category, is none other than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, sitting at that insanely efficient 57.9% from the mid-range. Incredible stuff, as you can see in the video throughout these clips, just an unstoppable force, forcing the Denver Nuggets to zone up and cheat away from some good three-point shooters to, hope that they can just plug the paint and force Shai to either take tough shots or have to kick it out. And then, forcing the Nuggets to say, you know what? We're just going to close out late on some good shooters. And even though the Thunder didn't shoot well in the playoff series throughout, just the concept of cheating away from a guy like Lu Dort, who, shot 40% from 3 in the regular season. You're cheating away from an Isaiah Joe from time to time. Just guys that can knock down shots, like a Cason Wallace as well. And yes, guys had bad shooting nights. This was a really grind out series where people were just battling so hard defensively and just such a tough task and a lot of energy being required on the defensive end that it does take away from the offensive productivity from some guys that typically shoot the ball well. But it's just interesting to see how Shai's gravity in the mid-range just forces an entire team to just collectively decide to play zone and take away the mid-range, the paint, and then say we're just going to go close out on the better shooters later, Just a very interesting thing. And so I decided to then look amongst all the guards in the playoffs every single round. So first round, second round. And then I put a 30 minutes played minimum so I could get a good filter. And this is percentage of field goal attempts coming from 2-pointers. And the 3 guys at the top, number 1 is Amen Thompson at 95.3%, who they have listed as a guard. Cade Cunningham, 78.3%, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 74.8. These guys are guards in the 70s in terms of percentage of points coming from 2-pointers. So then I go a step further and I say, okay, let me remove the positional category, right? The positional filter, and just leave the 30 minutes played minimum, because I think that's a fair number to put in there. And then 70% or more of field goal attempts being 2-pointers, right? What does this list look like? And this is what I found. And I'll start from the top this time, because pretty much it's going to be obvious, right? Zubac, Jalen Duren, Amen Thompson, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Şengün, Jaren Jackson Jr., Cade Cunningham, Paolo Banchero, Jimmy Butler, Cat, Siakam, Shai, Jaden McDaniels, Nikola Jokic, Wendell Carter Jr., and I threw in Kawhi in there because he's at 69.9%. But after that, I cut it off. And these are 16 guys in the entire playoffs who play 30 minutes or more. And obviously, when you look at this list, the majority of the guys are big men, right? Front court players. And obviously, with the exception of a few, right? Like maybe 3-4 guys. I just wanted to see, what does it look like? Where do you put Shai in this picture, right? As a guard that he prefers to score from the mid-range and inside, right? Like he does take some threes, he makes them occasionally, but we know that for the most part, it's mid-range shots. It's at the free throw line, drawing fouls, getting to the rim, in the paint, outside of the restricted area. That's really his operating area. And, I just think that what Shai has done in the second round, in the first round, just throughout this season, throughout his career, really, just showing that the mid-range is something you can use to still win, especially in 2025. And watching him knock it down with such efficiency really reminds me of all-time greats that love shooting from the mid-range and were very efficient doing so. And some of them are still in the league. DeMar DeRozan is obviously a guy that favors the mid-range. We know that Jamal Murray is a guy that really likes playing in the mid-range, is back to the basket, kind of a post-up guard. Pretty unique in that aspect. And then you're looking at, like KD, Devin Booker. Just there's still a lot of guys that like to use the mid-range. And just naming a few that come off the top of my head, Giannis has evolved into taking more mid-range shots. You're seeing Şengün slowly but surely pulling away and trying to kind of stretch the range, even though still not there yet. That's going to be the next level for him. I would like to see him shoot more threes. But, Paolo Banchero, a guy that loves the mid-range. He takes a lot of tough shots, loves pull-ups. He's developed a lot in that aspect. And I just wanted to kind of talk about that because I feel like it's an interesting thing to watch. And I don't know if this data means anything to anybody. I thought it was interesting. I just wanted to kind of throw it out there as a video because I got nothing to do. It's a Monday. I'm just going to go back and watch OKC, Minnesota regular season games. I'm going to go back and watch some Indiana and Knicks regular season games to kind of get a feel for what we're going to see in this series. And I can't wait to watch the rest of these games. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you guys on the next one.